Hey, everybody, welcome back. It's Mr. Reality, joined by psychic medium Liz Cross. And Liz, this Shroud of Turin has been in the news recently. If you're not aware, it's a cloth that was wrapped allegedly around the body of Christ after he was taken down from the crucifixion. Really didn't come. How are you, by the way?
Oh, let's just jump into it. I've been up since 5 a.m. picking up at least 1,000 little pieces off the floor that my
Oh,
4-year-old decided to cut. That's how I am. All
that looks
right.
like fun.
Yeah. Well, for him, yeah, great.
So
Okay.
this really didn't come into like notoriety until the 14th century, and there's no chain of custody from the last 13 centuries before that. But I wondered if you maybe could pull in the entity or the shroud or the whoever originally had it, and so we could debunk or confirm the myth of the Shroud of Turin.
This isn't hard, is it?
No, no one's going to be upset with this one either.
Yeah, right. Get ready for the hate comments.
Oh, it's not me. It's I just do what they ask me to do. Okay.
Liz Cross, you're the Antichrist. Okay. Can you put the picture back on the
Sure.
page?
So this is a picture of it. It's like this is the front and the back of the image. It's about like 6 feet long. I think I've been researching this since like the 19 early, late, mid, long time ago. So I've seen lots of stories come about and fakes and truths and but this is in a church in Turin, Italy that I walked by decades ago.
Hmm. Okay, I've got the shroud.
Oh, the Shroud. Hello, Shroud. How are you?
It's very old.
It's shrouded in mystery too. But bump ching. Can the Shroud tell us how it feels about the notoriety it's gotten and sort of the reverence that it's gotten?
Can you tell us about the notoriety? I mean, it feels proud to have that notoriety. Um, it likes that it has a lot of good and white light feelings and thoughts attached to it, a lot of good energy attached to it.
And does it feel like it's filled with love, that it's filled with joy? That I mean, I don't know. We're talking to an inanimate object, and I don't know what its capacity is to feel.
Well, let's find out. That's a good question. Uh, do you feel love? It feels very loved. Do you have the capacity to feel? Oh, yes. It's still a consciousness, right? It still has energy. It still has a consciousness. And do you feel joy? I wouldn't say it feels joy. I would say it's quite reserved. The energy, it feels like stately or something that is almost priestly or something that is not to be touched but is to be revered. It has a very interesting energy, to be honest.
Okay. So I am a remote viewer and I teach a remote viewing course. It's going to be starting probably at the end of this month. If you're interested, you can email me, website's down, remoteviewit@gmail.com. I've done work on this. Other remote viewers have done work on this. In fact, Dad Dames recently was on Coast to Coast over the weekend, and that's why someone brought this to my attention. Ed Dames has allegedly said that he remote viewed where this happened and then using his geolock determined where the crucifixion then happened. So his chain of custody from this shroud to the crucifixion to the geographical location of the crucifixion has now been established. But I'd like to find out from this individual here who's captured in this likeness, is this a real person? Is this a facsimile? Or was this truly uh, this person here that is captured on the image? Can we bring him forth?
Yes, this person is not Jesus.
That's correct. You are definitely on point with that. The remote viewing data that we got showed that this came from an artist probably in the mid 13th century. And this guy was more like a vagrant around the area. And this was actually painted on, or it's like a technique where he wrapped it around him and then left him out in the sun for a few days in order to capture this image on the clock. Can this individual tell us about his lifetime, if that's accurate, and what was his passing in life like?
So he wasn't homeless. He really he wasn't homeless. Give me 2 seconds. All right. So this person wasn't really homeless.
Okay.
I feel like this person was quite well established in the community. This person was a judge.
Ah, can they tell us about how they died, what their life was like as a judge?
It was very difficult trying to make decisions. It wasn't a job that they wanted to do. They were basically elected by the community and they got very little pay for it. But because this person was so mindful and fair and honest, that is why, and humble, that is why he was chosen. So he used to listen to like court cases, like, back then, what we would deem as court cases today. Proof, you'd have to bring proof. You'd have to bring, um, proof of, usually, what was it usually that you were dealing with? Marriage woes were very common. Did you decide whether or not the female could have a divorce? No, no, that was up to the religious leaders in the community. So you would try to pass around some fair arrangement. He would try to make some fair arrangement within the marriage. There was no protection for women back
So
then.
was this around 1200, 1300, the era that he lived?
Was this around 1200? It was before that.
Around 900?
Was it around 900? Before that.
Was it around 500?
Was it around 500? Between, I would say, 5 and 600. Yes.
And so, how was this facsimile of him created? And why don't we see more death reliefs like this done?
Uh, how was this facsimile of you or this thing created? So this is when he was this when you passed. This is when he passed. He was a very important person in the community. And they wrapped you? Yes. And they wrapped him. And then what did they do? They did exactly as you said. They left him out in the sun. And they also had some sort of like inking technique. And I can't really understand the ins and outs of it, but it was some sort of, they took some substance, some type of dye or inking substance, and they
Yeah,
would
it was a
put,
biological substance, if I recall,
yes,
like that type of ink.
it was. Exactly. And they put it on the outside and then they pulled this shroud very, very tight. And they also weighted it down. And it was almost like the body, because of the heat as well, was sticking to it. Um, and was also liquefying a little bit as well, because this was in very hot conditions. And how long this was a messy job. Okay. And how long did it take? It took a few days to do this.
Yeah, I
And
think we
once
had
they,
like 4 or 5 days of
yes,
the
4 or 5
process
days.
involved.
Mm-hmm. And they would have to ink it like every day.
Oh, okay. We didn't get that. This gentleman that we're speaking with, how does he feel about his image being used as a representative of Jesus Christ?
Well, he feels very honored, but he's not Jesus.
Correct. However, you can see even Ed Dames, a major remote viewer, can make a mistake and determine what the origin of something is and then leap to conclusions about the data. We never make assumptions in remote viewing. You always need to go in blind. You never know what you're remote viewing. And we wouldn't say that this is a relief of Jesus because that contaminates the cue that you create. So you have to create the cue unambiguously so that you're not making assumptions and leaping to logic when you do a cue
So,
like this.
exactly. So, first, and I hate to pick apart another remote viewer's work, but I'm going to, right? Because it's at Dames. Why
Don't
not?
hold us accountable. Right. My
um,
former teacher, but love him to death, but still.
so here's the problem. First of all, it wasn't a double blind remote viewing. Okay. Now, what I know about remote viewing is that even though this shroud holds energy, right?
It's true.
He was picking up on the energy around the shroud as opposed to targeting the shroud itself. Now, there's a reason for that. He should have maybe tried to, and how was he supposed to know, really? But you have to pierce through those layers of energy that are surrounded in mystery as to what people think it could be. It's this, it's that, right? All of those thought forms hold energy, and it's really weighted on this shroud, right? So his remote viewing picked up on the energy around the shroud as to what they think it possibly is or who it belonged to, but he didn't actually target the shroud itself. Now,
Okay.
let's ask this question. Why was he not able to reach the target of the shroud itself? Well, he was quite excited about this remote viewing. So he was emotionally attached to this remote view. He wanted to, it's a big deal, obviously. And he wanted to really make it into some sort of story or a book or some sort of series. There was a lot more than just your typical remote view, unlike what you
Right.
guys do, right? You guys just, in your class, you just did it as a, point blank remote view, and you weren't emotionally attached to this target. He had a lot of emotional attachment to this target, and that's what led him down the path. Now, he also, you said he believes he knows. Can you expand on that?
So he said that because of that, now he knows where the crucifixion happened on Coast to Coast AM. Let's see if I can pull that link up. Um, where was it? The remote viewing of, and again, we're not endorsing Ed Dame's class. We're not endorsing Coast to Coast AM. We're just doing it because it came up. Ed Dames believe he can now know where, through a form of psychic ability, he can now know that the Shroud of Turin happened in this area here, and we'll zoom in for those people that are Google Map experts around the area of the national forest. That's no, there. He said he did two things: Bigfoot, and then the Golgotha, the site of Jesus' crucifixion, according to canonical gospels and accounts. And at some point, we'll do Jesus Christ, but that's a whole nother show. But he claims that using remote viewing geofix method, he identified this is where the crucifixion happened. So it's two different projects tied together with the shroud. But if you're taking my class, you might get in your data Shroud of Turin, but you would have a place to put that so that it doesn't override your session and it kill your session. Like you have an analytical column where your left brain is thinking and knows, oh, I know what this is. You put it there because you never want to jump to conclusions when you're within a remote viewing session.
So, is this in Israel? I'm so sorry. Pardon my ignorance.
Yes.
Okay, I thought so. Did the crucifixion take place in the old city, Jerusalem? No. Okay. So I don't know if this is attached to the old city in Jerusalem. Do you know whether it is or not?
My geography of Greater Israel is not great, so we'll leave that to the experts, and everybody that wants to chime in, they can let us know. But we want to say conclusively, Mr. Reality and Liz Cross are saying the Shroud of Turin is an artist rendition of a judge who passed away many centuries after Jesus Christ, not a relic of holy significance. Don't shoot us. Don't be mad at us. We're just letting
Oh
you
my
know.
God. You know they will. But no, that's I mean, I can only report what I get. So that's what we got from this.
Is
And
this
the fact that
individual,
they extracted it off of him and it was sticky. I'm sorry, go ahead.
is he alive now?
Are you on the earth plane now? No.
All right. When was his last incarnation?
When was your last incarnation? Around the 1800s,
Oh,
1830-ish.
wow. Is he coming back anytime soon?
Are you coming back anytime soon? Not for a while. Not for a while. He's one of those that likes to take his time, just like he was on the earth plane. He's very fair, very, balanced, very humble, likes to think really hard about his decisions. He's doing the same in the spirit world. He's very reluctant to come back down to the earth plane, right? He says, every time he comes down, in his mind, what he's saying to me is that so much has changed and he can't keep up with it. It's very, it's very frightening to him.
All right. Well, Liz Cross, Judge Holy Shroud of Turin, thank you so much. We appreciate your time, and everybody go ahead and leave a comment. Oh, God, I can't wait for the comments.
Yeah, really.
All right.
I'm
Bye,
surprised they
everybody.
didn't burn me at the stake over Mary. All right, we'll stop this one here. Another
Bye.
mystery solved. Thank you.